You're concerned about retirement with the crisis going on in the financial markets? You have a right to be. We have an example today here of a 50-year-old. And his company is making a very good 401k match, but he's still out of money by age 82.
That hurts.
It does. And he can make extra contributions, and he still might be out of money at 89.
That's still cutting it pretty close.
It is. And, this is a projection, but there is a way with the same cash flow that he can go all the way out to 96 and not have the income drop off. So even though he is, quote, out of money at 96, he's not really out of money because his income level for his lifestyle continues.
Same cash flow,
Identical cash flow.
Better money management. That's the answer.
That's right.
So typical financial planning puts us in a position where we're out of money at 82 in this example, John.
It sure does. And just to give us a little bit more background on what's happening here, this guy is age 50, and he's retiring now at age 66. The company has a very good 401k match program, over $44,000 a year.
That's really good.
It's really good. But it still doesn't keep him from running out of money by age 82. And you might think, well, is he taking a huge amount of income from this after he retires? But no, only $50,000 a year of income. Now, we did adjust that for inflation, 3% per year, going all the way out to the time he's 66, which means he's not taking $50,000 a year of income. He's actually taken over $80,000.
When he's 66?
When he's 66.
And then that's going to increase every year until he's 82 and be out of money because of inflation. Sure.
Exactly. So it's going to increase just like that. Inflation is a killer.
It is.
It always is. And so what happens is it ends up draining the account a lot faster than anyone thinks ahead of time. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today.
So how can someone having the same cash flow extend that income out further and not reduce their income?
Sure. Well, there are a few options here. For one, this gentleman here, he could contribute extra contributions. He can max out the 401k contribution, over $66,000 a year. He could also contribute to a Roth IRA, maybe.
Okay.
That would be a limit contribution cap, of course. But let's say that he could contribute $7,000. That includes the $1,000 catch-up.
So let's back up just a little bit. He can contribute extra to his 401k, but what has happened to 401ks during this current crisis?
That's right. They've become, as Mr. Nash used to say, 201ks.
So they're not as dependable as what someone in their 50s really needs to be looking at to make sure they have the income they need for a lifetime.
Yeah, that could be a wrench thrown into this whole thing here, because in this example, there's no market crisis, no market correction.
So what is this fellow earning in his 401k?
He's earning 6% every single year until retirement, age 66 in this case, at which time it will go to 4%. So maybe a little bit more, quote, conservative.
Sure.
Okay. But what happens, this is just a straight line projection. This is not considering the market crash. So when the market does correct, what has to happen to rates of return just to get back to where somebody starts with?
Oh, yeah. We all know that if you lose 50%, you have to make 100%. If you lose 25%, you've got to make 33%. Those are just facts. And of course, the market can give spurts of growth, but nobody knows the time factor. Mm-hmm. And the last thing you want to be doing is sitting on a decayed 401k or 403b plan at the time that you're going to have to start pulling money from that to retire. Because what's going to happen then is you're going to deplete the principal, and you're not going to have as much principal to be earning that 4 or 6% or whatever was projected. So you're going to run out of money even earlier.
Absolutely. So let's say this guy's looking at his retirement picture. It's not looking all that great. What would be an alternative? He could put more money in, right? Could put another $10,000 a year in. And let's just say that he could contribute that to a Roth IRA. Now, he can't do that. He's already maxing out the Roth IRA contribution. But let's just say he's willing. He says, I know I need to save more. Let's try $10,000 a year. If I could get the growth on that, all tax-free, again, earning 6% till retirement, then going down to 4%, would I make it then? And he would get out to about age 97 that way. before his assets run out. And then he would have a fairly nice income stream. I don't know if you could see it here on this graph, but here it is. If you're watching the video of this podcast, the lighter blue line, it still doesn't quite keep up with inflation, though.
So where is his income coming from if he runs out of money when he's 97?
In this case, sure. Good. That's a good question. In this case, it's coming from annuities that we started along the way with some of the assets from those plans. Now, the first example where just the company was contributing to the 401k there really wasn't enough to start the annuity and keep up his current income stream. It wasn't an option there. When he's saving a little bit more now, if we assume everything that's going into the Roth, now he has some room to get some annuities in there and help boost that income level even when he is, quote, out of assets.
So this company is giving over $44,000 a year to a 401k plan for this fellow, and he's got to come up with another $10,000 a year just to make his income go past 82 at 6% return. Is that right?
That's right.
And so once he bumps up that contribution, when is he changing to annuities from a Roth? When is he giving that money to an annuity so that he's getting that guaranteed income after he's 97?
So it happens a couple times along the way. We did one about age 70 and one in his early 80s.
So does he roll the Roth into an annuity, or does he just buy an annuity instead of the Roth? How does that work?
Part of it could be with the Roth assets. In this case, we just used assets from the 401k because he had more assets overall.
Okay.
In the first example, there wasn't enough to do that.
So he's rolling his 401k out of the market and putting it into an annuity at that time, a fixed annuity?
Exactly. So that way it's not exposed to whatever's happening in the market from that point forward.
That can really change how long you have money to live on. And as we know, Bloomberg has reported, and several other people have reported, that the average person in America is living about 10 years past when their money supply stops. And so it's a little bit longer for women, but that just means that typical financial planning isn't helping these people have enough money to live their entire lifetime with. And this is an alternative that we can come in. Traditionally, and people depended on annuities and life insurance products to extend the income they had been able to keep and make that income last their entire lifetime.
That's right. So there's one more option that we haven't talked about yet. We've talked about bringing the annuities into it, but remember that last example where he was willing to save another $10,000 a year. That's not really possible in a tax-free Roth situation, but it is possible with participating whole life insurance.
And that's because there's limits on how much you can contribute to your Roth. You can't get up to that $10,000 level. So
exactly. So if he takes that $10,000 extra, doesn't fit into his Roth, and he buys life insurance with it, now he's able to keep his assets for nearly the same amount of time, all the way out till he's 96, and his income level continues afterward at a very nice level. And he, at any point, if he dies along the way, he leaves more money to his heirs than he would have in any other way.
So let's recap this a little bit. Traditionally, if we depend on annuities instead of just 401ks, we can get a longer income. But in this case, it's impossible for him to get that money from his 401k and Roth combined. So we're using a life insurance policy along the way to take the extra money that would have normally gone into the Roth.
So he can take the extra money that would have gone to Roth, buy the life insurance with it. Now it leaves him a lot more options with those annuities.
And it gives him a whole lot more options. That's really cool. And nowhere have we changed his income or contribution levels except by stepping up and contributing an extra $10,000 behind what his company's contributing.
Exactly. Now, I do want to point something out here. You know, he's 50 years old. Some people would say that he should start buying these deferred annuities right now, and maybe even have those indexed fixed annuities, fixed indexed annuities, to try and get some of the market gains as he gets there. Why don't we go for that strategy?
Well, again, we're going back to the idea that annuities and life insurance products are the only products that are able to guarantee that you will have a certain amount of money at a certain amount of time at a specific date in the future. Anyone else that promises you that is is being fraudulent unless it's a CD or a bank note. And even then, the Treasury bonds, bills, and notes you can actually lose money, and people are doing that even as we speak today in this crisis because of the way the bond market works there. But life insurance annuities, fixed annuities, and life insurance, whole life insurance policies are the only products that can offer a guarantee saying when you're 96 or when you're 95, this is the amount of money that's going to be there. Annuities, or the fixed annuities, are the only ones that are going to say you can have this income for the rest of your life no matter how long you live. And so when we get to the point where it's not a good idea to risk what you have for the possibility of getting more, but you've got enough to live conveniently, it's a good idea to lock those monies that you've been able to keep and build in a place where you're not going to lose them in a market like we're experiencing currently.
Absolutely. So when you buy an annuity, you always limit your options. The annuities are great at converting a lump sum of assets into a nice guaranteed income stream. They're not necessarily great at growing your assets to begin with. And so when we're looking at the numbers, what we've found over the years running these different analyses is that it's better to accumulate your money in the life insurance. Get those guarantees where you still have full access, full options. If you need the annuities in the future, great, that option is on the table. If you don't, then you've maximized your assets and your legacy all along the way.
Yes. It's all about better money management. We haven't changed the income. We haven't changed the cash flow. All we've done is manage it in a better way so that people aren't running out of money before they die. Insurance companies are very, very good at predicting how long people are going to live, and so that's why life insurance is such a good way to build the asset. And then we reverse that when it comes time to saying, hey, I think because of my longevity and my genes and my health and the way that I take care of myself, I can beat the odds. And so then we roll that into an annuity, and now the insurance company ends up paying us for what would have normally been a gain for them. Because if we can extend our years beyond what they believe we're going to live, we win big time.
Absolutely. So last week we did a YouTube Live with our CPAs, and they were talking about some of the SBA loans and the financial relief options that are available to especially to business owners, but really to individuals as well that have business ventures through the SBA loan options that are available. And how does life insurance tie in when we have a crisis like this? I mean, those SBA loans are going to take some time to come through. Where does the life insurance come into play here?
Sure. Well, it depends on who you listen to. Some people are saying those checks will be in the mail within 2 weeks after application. Some say it's going to be 6 weeks. Either way you look at that. That's
close enough for government work.
Either way you look at it, that's a time lapse.
Oh, it is.
And so life insurance cash values can come in really handy during this crisis. If you need the capital right now, you've been approved for a loan, an SBA loan, one of these SBA loans to make sure you're paying your employees or you're covering payroll costs, then the life insurance can be the gap loan between now and when the money actually comes in from the SBA loan. The other way to look at it is if you don't need the SBA loan immediately, or the money from your life insurance policy, meaning just wait till the SBA loan does come in, and then the life insurance cash value that you've accumulated is there in case there is an opportunity when this crisis is over that you can capitalize on, because it is at times like this when millionaires and billionaires are made, because there are real great opportunities when the market is down. I just saw, for example, that Saudi Arabia bought 8% out of Carnival cruise lines the other day. They see an opportunity there, and they're in a position to be able to sit on that for a long period of time to see. I'm not making any recommendations about buying stocks here or anything, but there are opportunities that happen.
Yeah.
There's going to be people that are willing to sell things that normally they wouldn't have sold for a price that they wouldn't have never considered just 2 months ago. An interesting article I just read this last week was, are pawn shops essential businesses and should they remain open? And there were people saying, no, absolutely not. They're ripoffs. They take advantage of people. And yet, other people were writing in and saying, no, they're essential because without the pawn shop, I can't sell this and this and this. And if I don't have that, I don't have food to put on my table.
How else are you going to get the cash sometimes?
So with life insurance proceeds, we don't have to worry about whether pawn shops are essential businesses or not. We have access to it, and we know on a signature, we can get that money transferred into our personal bank account within roughly 48 hours at the most.
A huge freedom. Huge freedom, and it really opens up the door for opportunity.
And then it gives you the opportunity to manage your capital that you do have on hand differently than if you didn't have that reserve. So whether you use the money as a stopgap between now and the time the SBA loan comes in, or whether you don't need that capital, but it can be a reserve so that when all this crisis is starting to settle down and the opportunities start appearing, you'll have cash on hand to make some asset purchases that normally would not be available.
Certainly. So why, some people are going to be thinking, so I'm going to ask the question right now. Why, if maybe you have reserves in life insurance, or you could use money out of investments. Couldn't you use money that was invested before the crash for an opportunity like this? Or is there going to be a problem? Are you going to run into problems accessing the money that was invested when the market's down?
Well, if your money is in an investment, it's not liquid. And especially if the market's dropped and you've lost part of what you thought was yours. Now you have even less.
So at that point, you might be thinking, well, do I hang on and make some of it back as the market bounces back, or do I take it out and go exchange it for another opportunity? It's kind of just an exchange at that point, isn't it?
It is. And when do you know the bottom is here and when do you know the bottom isn't? And,
only in hindsight.
And only in hindsight. So that's why we talk about asset purchases rather than investment, because investments are speculative by nature. There's always risk associated with an investment. And as people that have lived through the 2001 and 2007 and now this crisis knows, the money that you thought was yours is no longer there for you. We just recently helped someone roll their 401k retirement package into a fixed annuity for life because they had lost so much money that their lifestyle was going to go down if they didn't get what was left fixed and have an income from that they could depend on. Yeah. And, you don't gamble with people's lives. If that had dropped too much further, then these people that have worked all their life and are in their mid-70s, what are they going to do to live on?
Yeah, that's
They're going to be one of those statistics that runs out of money before they die. And so locking that in so that what they've worked for all their life is going to continue to take care of them for all their life, the rest of their life, is a very important step that we can help them with. And that's what I think your example is so cool, because here's a really good 401k, which we see a lot of ugly
absolutely.
401ks. This is a really good one,
this
a large
given
contribution.
every benefit of the doubt.
And it still doesn't provide the money to let this gentleman live his entire lifetime. Mm-hmm. He runs out before that.
Yeah. So if you want guarantees for your money, access to that money so you can take opportunities that come along during your life, then you want guarantees that are found in life insurance. And annuities are always a strategy for income. If you're at the stage where you need passive income and you need that guaranteed. And we can help you with all of that here at Life Benefits. So you can give us a call at 702-660-7000, and we'll be able to help you with that.
Now, you said life insurance, John, but not all life insurance is the same, as those of you that listen to this podcast on a frequent basis know. There's only one policy that gives guarantees.
That is true.
That can that there will be X amount of money there on this date at this time in the future, and that's whole life insurance.
Yeah.
And there's only one product that lets you share in the profits of the insurance company, and that's participating whole life insurance. And so don't get hoodwinked into thinking that the guaranteed 1 or 2 or 0% rate of return that universal life policies offer is going to provide these kind of guarantees for you. They simply cannot make that promise to you. They cannot guarantee you there will be a certain amount of dollars in there when you're 82 or 89 or 97. Only participating whole life insurance can do that.
And that's a good point. You know, those of you who listen to Wealth Talks often know that we often talk about the differences between universal and whole life insurance. And we'll include a resource link here so you can hear us talk through some more detail on why the whole life insurance is the only option here that truly provides you the guarantees. But it's so true. The whole life insurance is the way to go here. The universal life insurance is really based on term insurance, where you're always renting, you never own. And so there's always a bigger cost to that over time.
And what we like to say is that whole life insurance, especially participating whole life insurance, is the only insurance product where you, the owner, start developing equity. And it's like buying a piece of real estate. If you never own any equity in that real estate, you're really just leasing it. You're not really the owner of it. Mm-hmm. The mortgage bank. And so in a life insurance product, if you don't create any equity, paid up insurance, that means insurance that you own, not are leasing from the insurance company or renting from the insurance company like term, then all you're doing is paying a premium and you're transferring wealth from yourself to the insurance company.
Mm-hmm. Now, term insurance can be wonderful as a short-term idea for coverage, even for 10, 20, 30 years. Why is the universal life insurance that is based on term, how is that different from the term insurance itself, which can be a great tool?
Well, the idea behind universal life is that it's permanent. It's permanent as long as you continue to pay the ever-increasing cost of term insurance. And as we get closer and closer to the time the insurance company knows we're probably going to die, mm-hmm. the cost of that underlying term policy, the foundation of a universal product, becomes so exorbitant that very, very few people could even afford to pay it, and 99% of the people choose not to pay it.
Absolutely. So they label it permanent, even though it is not permanent, even though it's based on term insurance. It's more expensive than term insurance. So why wouldn't you want to just get the plain term insurance if you just needed the coverage there, and in combination with the whole life insurance, so you are building equity for the long term?
Well, universal life insurance, whether it's indexed, variable, or just plain vanilla universal life, is permanent as long as you pay the premium, but so is term.
True. And nobody's going to pay the premium.
So, but
that long.
Renewable term is permanent as long as you keep renewing the premium. Mm-hmm. But that's not feasible, no. And it's fiscally not sound.
Absolutely, because the price of those premiums skyrockets after either the level term premium in term insurance, or at a certain point, usually between somebody's 60s and 70s, age 60 to 70, is when we'll see those universal life premiums go through the roof. And it just eats up the guaranteed, let me say, quote, guaranteed values in those policies, because they're not really guaranteed if you need them to pay the premiums.
So we've looked at a couple of examples today about how to plan for retirement when you've got a great 401k package, how you could do that differently so that you can guarantee yourself that you won't run out of money. We also looked at the ways to use whole life insurance as a way to bridge a loan between now and when your SBA loan comes in for your business. Or maybe if you don't need the capital for that, you can just leave that cash value untouched, so that there are going to be some huge opportunities that are coming out of this financial crisis, that maybe you can use that capital to purchase some other assets that are going to generate income for you for the rest of your life.
That's right. So you were listening to Wealth Talks with Dr. Tom and John McPhee, bringing you the facts so you can thrive in life. Have a wonderful week.